Namaskar, स्वागत है आप सभी का. Welcome to the Embassy Weekly Online. This week, Russian President Vladimir Putin, as usual, had a very busy schedule. On September 25, he had a meeting via video conference with leaders of political parties that were elected to the 8th convocation of the State Duma, Russian Lok Sabha. On September 27, he chaired a meeting of the Russia Security Council. And on September 28, the President held a video conference meeting on economic issues, where he underlined that there is a need to keep in focus the dynamic of microeconomic indicators and the task to further improve well-being of the Russian people, given the global economic situation remains unstable and turbulent. He also had a number of contacts with his foreign counterparts, including a meeting with the President of Turkey, held in Sochi on September 29, and a plenary session of the 17th Russian-Kazakhstan Inter-Regional Cooperation Forum, held virtually on September 30th. On September 25th, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov addressed the United Nations General Assembly, where he underlined that threats and challenges can be countered effectively only through concerted efforts in strict compliance with the universally recognized norms of international law, first and foremost the goals and principles of the UN Charter, instead of unilaterally imposed rules-based world order.
The might is right approach is being applied instead of right is might, instead of international law with increasing frequency. There is no consensus amongst the leading powers as to the principles of the world order. Recently, we have been witnessing persistent attempts to diminish the UN's role in resolving the key problems of today, or to sideline it, or to make it a malleable tool for promoting someone's selfish interests. Such attempts are clearly visible in the so-called rules-based order concept that the West is persistently introducing to political discourse as opposed to international law. Naturally, no one can be opposed to rules as such. After all, this is exactly what the UN Charter is, a set of rules. These are, however, rules that have been approved by all countries of the world. We're all in the same boat. It falls within our shared interests to make sure that the boat stays safely afloat on the waves of global politics. We're all different, but this must not bar us from working for the benefit of our nations and the entire humanity itself. It is the only way that we may be able to fulfill the honourable mission of the United Nations, save this generation from the scourge of war and succeeding generations too from war, hunger and disease, build a more peaceful, stable and democratic future for all. In conclusion, let me propose a hashtag. UN Charter is our rules.
On that day, Sergey Lavrov also held a news conference to sum up the high-level week of the 76th session of the UNGA.
Afghanistan is on top of the agenda for everyone. We proceed from a premise that what we see is a reality. A hasty withdrawal of the US forces and their NATO allies was done without any regard to any respect for the consequences. And by that I mean huge stockpiles of ammunition. And we need to make sure that these weapons should not be used in non-constructive purposes or for non-constructive goals, as I would say. And currently, the Taliban say they're committed to fighting against extremism and terrorism, including ISIS and Al-Qaeda, not to spread instability to other countries. They said they will respect women's rights, will push for an inclusive government. Well, you have heard those statements. And the key right now is to make sure that they deliver on their promises.
On September 23rd, foreign ministers of the Group of Friends in Defense of the UN Charter, comprising of representatives from 18 countries, including Russia, had their first meeting in New York on the sidelines of the high-level week of the 76th session of the UNGA. They discussed recent developments in the international arena, including challenges and threats to the UN Charter, and exchanged views on existing, new and emerging issues of common interest. The meeting resulted in the political declaration in which the ministers expressed their serious concerns about the growing resort to unilateralism, in detriment not only to multilateralism but also to international cooperation and solidarity, which must be deepened now more than ever, particularly in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Full text is available at the link in description. On September 30th, Geneva hosted a second meeting of the Russia-US bilateral strategic stability dialogue. The leaders of the two countries made a decision to launch this comprehensive, meaningful and energetic process in June this year. The Russian side was represented by Deputy Foreign Minister Sergey Ryabkov and the American one by First Deputy Secretary of State Wendy R.Sherman. They agreed to establish two interagency working groups of experts, the Working Group on Principles and Objectives for Future Arms Control and the Working Group on Capabilities and Actions with Strategic Effects. In general, the discussions were constructive and substantive. The joint military anti-terrorist command and staff exercise of the armed forces of the SCO member states, Peace Mission 2021, was held on September 20th, 2024 this year at the Dongus training ground in the Orenburg region in Russia. The Indian Army personnel was also taking part. The main objectives of the drills were to improve the coherence of the management bodies of the coalition group of troops in the preparation and conduct of a joint anti-terrorist operation, exchanging experience in countering terrorism, as well as mastering the basic tactical techniques and methods of action. The exercise was witnessed by Indian Chief of Defense Staff General Bipin Rawat, who was on a two-day visit to Russia, where he also attended the conference of the SCO Chiefs of General Staff. Check out some useful links on this topic shared in description. We would like to draw your attention to the innovative forms of work of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, focused on strengthening potential of the regions of the member states. On September 29, the second meeting of the Forum of Heads of Regions of the SCO member states was held in a hybrid format in Chelyabinsk. It was attended by High Representative of Regional Administrations, economic departments and business circles, including from India. The emphasis was made on the development of trade, economic and investment cooperation between the regions of the SCO countries, including in the context of the tasks of the implementation of the program of interregional cooperation approved in June 2019 in Bishkek. We are observing with concern the growing tensions in the Tajik-Afghan ties. There have been reports of both sides pulling armed forces towards the common border. Russia calls on Dushanbe and Kabul to search for mutually acceptable options to resolve the situation. Afghanistan is also facing socio-economic challenges. A decrease in cash turnover has been detected, and the country's banking sector is paralyzed. The deplorable state of the national economy has resulted in a sharp rise in price, while industrial production has declined. In these conditions, we have taken a note of the decision by the US Treasury Department to allow state institutions, international and non-governmental organizations to provide humanitarian aid to Afghanistan. We consider it a positive signal, especially since the US bears the bulk of the responsibility for the developments taking place in Afghanistan today. We would like to draw your attention to an unprecedented act of information aggression against Russia Today TV news media in Germany. Two Russia Today operated channels in YouTube, RTDE and Der Fachländer Part, were permanently deleted by the video hosting platform. There is no doubt that YouTube undertook these illegal actions with the support, both public and tacit, of the German authorities and the local media. The objective behind this act of aggression is clear: to silence information sources that allegedly do not fit into what the German officials view as a comfortable information landscape. Together with that, that perfectly fits the logic of the information war unleashed against Russia by the Western states. Having reviewed the Russia Today's appeal for protection against discrimination, The Russian Foreign Ministry has decided to ask the competent agencies of the Russian Federation to draft and adopt retaliatory measures regarding YouTube video hosting servers and the German press.
The actions of the video platform YouTube against those channels violate the key principles of free distribution of information and unhindered access to it. If the owners of YouTube disregard the warning from Roskomnadzor, Russian law allows for the full or partial blocking of access to the platform.
That will be all for today. Thank you for watching us. Stay tuned to our website and social media and see you online.